The Tao of Self-Confidence, Episode 846. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a phenomenal lady on the show today. She's a speaker, author, and publisher, and the founder of Quill Hawk Publishing. And I'm super excited to have her on today to share her story with us on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Amy M. Lee. Amy, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Hey, Sheena, thanks for having me. So I am actually originally from Vietnam, and I came to the United States when I was 5 years old as one of the boat refugees who escaped after the fall of Saigon. I am a congenital heart defect warrior, so I was born with an atrial septal defect, and of course, the wonders of medicine in the United States helped to save my life. And today I'm a full-time author, a publisher. I am on a couple of boards. I'm an officer of a couple of writing communities. Other than that, I love to cook and I love Formula One and Seahawks.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that, Amy. And what's your cultural background?
So I am a 1.5 generation Vietnamese American. And I kind of straddle the fence right now between my Vietnamese heritage and my American culture. So I'm a fusion, I guess, but I'm trying to get definitely more back to my roots.
Love it. Thanks for sharing that. And Amy, what'd be your favorite self-confidence quote?
I think Confucius once said something about, we all have two lives, and it's only when we realize that we only have one life is when our second one begins. And that happened for me when my mother passed away, and I realized I only have this one life to live. And that gave me the confidence to start living my life, because my mom fought so hard to get us to the States and literally fought for my life, because I was going to die as a child.
I love that quote. And it's so true. I mean, that also happened to me when my aunt passed away. She passed away about 11 years ago in a horrific accident. And it just made me realize how short life was. And I didn't want to live life, going to something that I wasn't happy doing, right? Just that monotony of like going to work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. I knew there was something more out there for me. And so that was the starting point of me going out there and forging my own path. It didn't happen right away, but at least, it kind of started. So yeah, it's crazy, right? Like we don't know how much time we have left here. So we have to make the most of it. So I love that quote that you mentioned. And in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
I would say, self-confidence is all about believing in yourself, going against the grain, no matter what anybody says or what they believe in or what negativity they throw at you. It's believing in your mission, believing in your strategy, believing in the vision that you have for your life, and really leaning into your strengths, right? As my friend Thomas Dalberg always says, put your game face on. We always put our game face on when we attack things, but when you put on your game face and you attack the world with that spiritual belief, then I think anything can happen. So that's what confidence means to me.
I love that quote too. I think I'm going to start using that because it's true, right? It really starts with our belief in ourselves. If we're not, and I know it sounds cheesy, right? Everyone says, believe in yourself, but it's so true, right? Like if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to go out there and take action or build your confidence or even take the first step on learning something new. So yeah, having that belief is very important. It's really the foundation of building confidence. It really has to start with ourselves, knowing that we are capable enough to go out there and make things happen. So I really love that definition that you mentioned. And Amy, what was your life like before you discovered self-confidence?
Well, I'm a little person, like I'm tiny. And so you have to really fight for your space and you have to fight to be heard, because I'm normally soft-spoken. And so before the confidence, I was very quiet back in the background, a nod and a yes person. And I think, to quote a Formula One thing, it's like, put your elbows out, stick your elbows out, fight for your space, forge a path for yourself. And so, yeah, before the confidence, I just let things roll, and where the chips fall, that's where it's going to fall. And sometimes, I'll find myself at a table, luckily to be at a table, but then I don't speak up. And I think, someone's going to say what I'm going to say or ask the questions I'm going to ask. And when they don't, I just let it fall and I sweep it underneath the rug. And that's not a way to live. So yay, confidence.
I think that's something we all can relate to, right? Not being able to speak up or too afraid or going through imposter syndrome because we just feel like we're not enough. Also, our upbringing also tells us, never make any noise, stay in the background, keep whatever you're feeling to yourself. And that really doesn't help us, right? We become trapped in our own feelings. And especially with what's been happening to our community, we've become easy targets of anti-Asian racism. So it's really important for us to speak up even if you're uncomfortable with it or you think it's going to be stupid. It's not as stupid as we think it is when we go up and say it, right? But at least it's better to say it than to always think what if, right? And what was that point in your life when you realized you are this confident woman, you are a trailblazer? What was that point in your life where you realized your own capabilities?
Well, I feel like our voice is also a muscle that we have to strengthen and practice. And so the more you talk, the stronger you are. And that point really for me came when I worked for Microsoft for an officer of a company. And I see all these people, mostly the leadership team, advancing in their careers, getting dollars behind them for career coaching, professional coaching, life coaching, what have you. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm a member of this team too. If anything, I should be one of the most important members because I was the executive assistant to the officer, right? So I had this meeting and I said, hey, I want you to spend some of your dollars, your budget on me as well. And I want a career coach or a professional coach. And 6 months later, after meeting with this coach, I got everything I wanted. I got the bonus, I got the promotion. And that was a really big turning point for me because I realized all I have to do is just ask, speak up and ask.
I love that. And I always tell people, there's no harm in asking. I always say if you don't ask, the answer is always no. But you'd be surprised what happens when you just go out there and ask for something and who says yes. Like I remember when I used to work a job, I was having a salary review and my boss gave me a raise and my number was like 54,000, right? And I told him, well, can you bump it up to 55? Because number 4 in Chinese culture is a bad number. If you say it out in Chinese, it means death. And, of course he laughed at me because he thought it was the most ridiculous thing in the world, but I was serious, right? This is something that we actually believe in. And so he gave it to me, right? Because of what I told him. I gained $1,000 more just by simply asking. It might not be a lot for some people, but it's just that practice of asking for what you deserve or asking for something, right? You just never know who will say yes. So I really love that you mentioned that. And, because of that, what's your life been like now?
Now I am my own boss, right? I set the tone, I set the pace, I set the time, and I am learning more and more each day to say no and set my boundaries. And it's a mental health thing. It is a hustle thing. It's an advanced thing, and at the end of the day, it's making my own money and not being handcuffed to corporate.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how you mentioned, I set my own boundaries because I know as Asian women, we just tend to do everything for everyone and we forget to honor ourselves. We forget to set boundaries and that really hurts us. And, learning to say no to things that don't serve us can be very freeing, can be, the greatest feeling in the world. And I think the more we can talk about this, the more we can see other women saying no to things that don't serve them, we can really help a lot of women out there. So I'm glad you're able to, forge your own path and be the woman that you are today. And, to any woman who's listening to this episode, she may be in her own journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
I would say that oftentimes women are esteemed by the role that they have. In other words, they are someone's wife, someone's mother, someone's sister. And I would say, you know what, you are your own person and your value is based on you and not your title to another person.
Thanks for sharing that great advice. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do or check out some of your books, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to follow me on Instagram, or Twitter, it's at Amy_M_Lee. And on Facebook, it's at author Amy M. Lee.
Thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Amy, you can also head on over to the taoselfconfidence.com and search for Amy's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I really just want to thank Amy today for taking the time to share her story and journey with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Amy.
Thank you so much, Sheena.
Not a problem. It was really great having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. You can order your copy of Asian Women Who Boss Up book by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.